Hey there, group 4. So your prefix this week is actually fore. Not like the number 4, but F-O-R-E, which means in front or ahead of. So it's kind of like, or before. So it has a few different meanings, but usually it means like in front of something. And the easiest example to remember this one is your forehead. Your forehead comes first, and then the rest of your head, right? So it's in front of your head. That's literally what that word means. Isn't that so interesting? So your list this week is all words that have the prefix fore in front, like the word forehead, which literally means front of head, right? That's where it's located. Or, hold on, let me look back at your list so I give you good ones. Forecast. So when do you get a weather forecast? Oh, right, before the weather actually happens. It's told ahead of time, like a prediction. So a forecast is cast or given before the thing happens. So it's given before an event. What other great ones do you have? Very appropriate for social studies. We have our forefathers. Those are the fathers, and I don't mean fathers like my dad, but I mean like the founding fathers, the people who were like in charge of the country, like George Washington and John Adams, the people who like wrote the Constitution. They all came before us, right? We exist now. They came before. So they were the before founders of the country, or like our ancestors. So you can ask your family, like, oh, what's up with our forefathers? Like, where did our ancestors come from? Forefathers, ancestors, very similar, although it is very focused on like men, because fathers, right? Forethought. If you have no forethought, you don't think before you do things. Or a forepaw, like the front or the before of a dog's paw or a cat's paw. The forward, and I don't mean forward like moving forward in space, the forward of a book or a story, you might see that before the story comes. So it's told before the story. So in all of these words, I can take off the fore and I still have a word. Now sometimes the meanings kind of change a little bit, not just saying like before, but also like, yeah, this is the before word, but it's in a very specific context. Like it's not the foreword of a conversation, it's the foreword of a story, a book, a text. So even though I can say like word forward, yeah, it means the before word, but it really also has stuff to do with where it's told. And yes, the word for is in before, and that's a very easy way to remember it. Because if I add a BE in front of it, I get before. And there's our English word, and that's actually the root of the word before is for, because it's like being in the front. So yeah, our words always have history. They always have a lot of meaning. People never sat there and said, like, let's stick these two words together and make a new word. But it kind of happens organically, accidentally. It's the same way that we say things like, I'll go Google that for you. Well, that was never a word before. Before. But as we keep growing and adapting and changing, and as different people come together, our language changes. And so one of the things that we get are these really cool prefixes that people use over and over and over again with very different root words. So your list this week, all 4 words, sounds kind of funny when I say that, they all start with fore. And there might be some ones on here that you've never seen before or that are new to you, so make sure you look up any new words. And they're all related to being before or in front of. So our forearm, this piece of our arm right here, forearm, it's like before the rest of our arm. Foreshadow, I think you guys might know that one from literature, from reading. A foreshadowing comes before the ends, right? Foresee, foretell, foresight. So if you have foresight, you can see things before they might happen. It means that like you're not rash or impulsive. You pause and you think, what are the repercussions of this? Forefathers, foremost, forehead, easy. Forepaw, forethought, did I do that twice? No. Forethought, forecast, forefront, foregone, forward, and forewarn. So you actually have a kind of a shorter list this week. There aren't that many words with this prefix, but it's a really good one just because it's kind of an interesting thing to think about, like space and time. So if you find other words that also start with fore, let me know. I'd love to kind of collaborate and get some more. And always, if you guys haven't noticed, the very last slide of your Google Slides kind of gives a list of like some tips and also gives all of the other prefixes that you've done. So in case you're like, oh yeah, what did we do last week? Or what did we do a couple weeks ago? These are all of your prefixes and what they mean. So you kind of have like this ongoing, almost like dictionary of prefixes, which is really cool and very sophisticated and pretty fancy. So keep doing it, keep working hard, and I can't wait to see your work this week. See you guys later.